I'm going to be showing you guys how I shot and edited this photo of Supercar Ron's F40 LM. So let's jump into it. You might be wondering to yourself, hey, Nick, how in the world did you get this out of that? Well, that's what I'm showing you guys today. So first and foremost, I kind of just want to walk you guys through exactly what was happening here at this particular setting. It was such an odd type of lighting. So it wasn't completely overcast, but it wasn't sunny in a sense. It was such a awkward and weird time to shoot. I honestly thought that these photos were going to be unrecoverable when I first did them. So as you can see, here's the kind of more of a better look at the setting. We had a couple cars over here, right over there. It wasn't in the most ideal position lighting wise. We had the light pretty much coming from the top, as you can see here. So the lighting was coming from the top of the photo pretty much directly above the car, just because the time that it was at, but yet it was like 8 degrees. It was so windy. I mean, with the wind, it probably honestly was more so like somewhere in the negatives. This was shot at ISO 100, 35 millimeters at f1.4. Of course, I always drop my f-stop down to 1.4. I honestly wish that I brought this one in particular up to about 2.2 just so that I could get more of the car in focus. But I think that it turned out okay. I mean, I didn't have gloves, I didn't have a hat, I had a hoodie and my Carhartt, and I was taking periodic breaks to warm up in the car. That's how cold it was. So I just wanted to get in, get out, and that was it. This was shot at 1/1000th of a second, obviously in the 9:16 aspect ratio. Now, the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to establish some lighting here. So we're going to kick the exposure down just a hair, kick up the contrast a little bit because we're really lacking the contrast here in these photos. We're just going to kick that up a little bit. We're going to take the highlights and we're actually going to boost the highlights in this one just a hair. We're going to take the shadows. We're going to boost up the shadows. We're going to kind of flatten the whites here because, as you can see, if we press and hold Alt, it's going to show you the whites. And we don't want those to be blown out. We want them to be more so flat, but white does also add texture to the photo. And then, of course, with the blacks, we're going to kick that down. And so we've got our lighting somewhat established. Of course, we're still going to have to, go from that. Do something a little bit better, but there is where we're sitting at right now. So we just did some basic lighting corrections and we're already looking much better. But I'm not really liking how this is looking here. It's definitely blown out right here due to the reflection and just the brightness of the ice. Just a little hair of clarity, nothing too crazy. And then we're actually going to, I believe we're going to kick the dehaze down just a little bit, really to exaggerate the fog and the lighting from up here. So here, as you can see, as we bring this down, we're going to get some of this here in the bottom getting crushed, and these highlights are getting blown up or blown out. So we're just going to raise this just a hair. And we're going to take our highlights and we're going to move that a little bit more up, and then we're going to drag it down just a little bit more. So this one's going to be pretty flat. And then we're going to take the highlight curve here and we're going to flatten that out a little bit. We're not going to flatten it out too much because obviously that would ruin the photo. And now we're going down to the HSL tab. Yes, everybody's favorite tab. So here on the reds, we're obviously going to drag those down a little bit, but we do still have some red here on the back of the car. So we got to be a little bit careful that we don't desaturate it all the way. Oranges as well. The only orange featured in this photo, as you can see, is just these rocks, but we can correct that a little bit later. We don't want those to be all too prominent, but we're going to correct this a little bit later. Now, as for the greens, as you can see, none of the trees, there's no green in this photo according to the HSL tab, and that is because these are going to be all under yellow. As for the aqua, we don't have much aqua aside from here, but we really want to exaggerate the aqua as well as the blue. There's not much blue that we're working with on this photo, but we're still going to increase that just a hair. And so now we need to work on our color grade. So we're going for more of a white and blue grade here. Going to kick this one down. And as for the, what is this? The shadows here. We're going to go and drop the shadows a little, or we're going to drop the shadows just a hair. And we're actually going to kick these up. As for the midtones here, we're going to bump those up as well. We're looking pretty good here, but there are still some things that we're missing. So that being said, we're going to go kick the balance down and we're going to kick the blending up. So now that kind of neutralized it a little bit more. We're actually going to need to do less of a dramatic grade. So, oh, my mouse is being ridiculous. So we need to just drag that saturation down just a hair. Now we really want to make sure that it doesn't mess with these all too much. So we're going to just give it a very slight correction right there. As for the aqua, we want the aqua to be definitely more on the blue side here because we're on blue ice. And there's not much blue there. So I'm going to do that. And we're going to take the green. And we're going to decrease the green. And we're going to do a little bit in the negatives for the yellow as well. Okay, we're going to add some sharpening here. But first, we're going to get the masking. Good go. We're going to add that. A little bit of more. A little bit towards the left. Not much, but just a little bit. Okay, and now it's time to come up into the temperature here. And this is where we're really going to make it pop. So we're going to go into the blues a little bit more. Not too much because that's going to look horrible. We're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to add... We're not going to go into the greens like you might be thinking. No. We're going into the magenta because we want this to be more of a... more of a neutral type of... grade here. We want it to be more on the cool side, but we don't want it to be so cool that it's way too blue. So I did go back into the tone curves here, and as you can see, I added a few different curves. So I did a very dramatic S curve here for all of the RGBs, the red, green, and the blues. So as you can see, here's all of our points. And I don't know if I'm going to leave that section in the video or if I'm going to take it out because it did take me quite a while to really get these to where I like them. And it's not perfect. It's not exactly how I edited the photo, but this is damn close. So I made a couple adjustments, a couple small adjustments. We did end up going a little bit more aqua. Here's the white balance settings, but everything for the most part is pretty much as we had it set, except for the dehaze. I added some more dehaze, did some more stuff with the white balance, etc. And now we've got this. So there's our before, there's our after. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a split view there for you guys. Boom, boom. Very cool. We're going to split it. Yeah, take a look. There we go. There's our before, there is our after. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and export, and then we're going to take it into Photoshop, and this is where the real sauce happens. Right, so we've brought the car into Photoshop now. So pretty much the only thing that we're going to do here is we're going to make some very minor adjustments to the coloring by adding a color balance layer. And we're going to make this a little bit more red to kind of neutralize what we've got going on here in the midtones. We're going to add a little bit more magenta. Like I said, our goal here is to neutralize. We don't want it to be too blue, so we're going to neutralize that blue a little bit more. There's our midtones. We're going to come into the shadows here, and we're going to add a little bit more on the cyan tab. We're going to go a little bit more green to really exaggerate these trees here. And then we're going to add a slight amount of blue. There we go. Under the highlights, we're going to do a little tiny bit of red. Too much will ruin the photo. We're going to do a tad bit of green and a little bit of yellow. And this is going to kind of neutralize what we've got going on here with the blues. So as you can see, It's not much of an adjustment, but it's enough to make a very dramatic change. And then over here, we're going to go ahead and take some of the brightness and we're going to bump the brightness up just a tab. We're going to kick the contrast up a tiny bit. All right. So there we go. There is our photo after the minor adjustments. There we go. There's the before. There is the after. Again, this isn't the same photo, but it's the exact same setting, exact same camera settings, all of that. And there we are. That is how I edited this photo. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy or you did find this helpful, let me know in the comments below and by smashing that like button. I will have some resources available for download come very soon. Stay tuned for the announcement. So to make sure that you don't miss that, hit that subscribe button because very soon I'm going to be coming out with a bunch of resources for you guys to produce images like this. Again, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you all in the next video.